Here's an image that will illustrate why you want to use duplicate layers as you're doing some retouching and so forth, as a way to sequentially step through an image and make your improvements. You notice here I've got this is actually a project coming up to in project 7A, be using this image to do some corrections to that. So I'll use it here as an example of using duplicate layers. You see here in the layers palette I've got all kinds of duplicate layers of the same image. In fact, by doing this, there's probably about 8 or 9 layers here. If I click down here and click on this arrow, you'll see if I go to document size, my original document is 34.9 megabytes in size. This image right here with all the layers, the Photoshop image, is actually 349 megabytes. So it does become a fairly large image at times. So you need to consider that when you're working with it on your computer. Although I should mention I'm working on this on a netbook, 1.3 gigahertz processor, dual core processor with 4 gigs of RAM, and it seems to work quite fine. So you can do that if you don't have everything else open at the same time. But why do you use duplicate layers? And let's turn off all of these layers once. First of all, I'm going to turn them all these visibilities off. I'll turn all the eyeballs off and go down here, and here's my original background right here. Here's my original image. I want to have these lights removed. I want these bleachers removed. I want to put a better flag in place. I want the brown leaves removed here. This light removed. I want this grate removed. I want this track removed in this street. There are some weeds along here that I want to have those removed right there. Fix up these weeds here. Make that brown. Fix that up a little bit. Stuff like that. Lots of detail that went into this project. We'll remove this sign here. Lots of detail went into this little project. So the first thing I did is I wanted to remove this sign. So I simply right-clicked on this layer and I left-click on duplicate layer. I made a duplicate layer of it, okay, which gave you the exact duplicate. And then what I did is I double-clicked that sign, double-clicked the name, and I said sign removed. So that's the layer where I removed the sign. So if I turn the eye visibility on, you can see now that the sign is gone. Okay, and you want to do this one step at a time, very carefully, do all of these corrections. So I took a good deal of time here to make sure everything lined up correctly, and so that this correction is totally transparent. Okay, grate remove is the next thing. That's this thing right down in front here. Okay, so if I move here, if I turn this one on, okay, now it's gone. Here it's back. This is a fairly easy thing. You're going to be using mostly your clone stamp and healing brush and copy and paste to do these things, but you need to do them very carefully. Left light removed. Okay, so if I go over here to this light here, if I turn this one on, left light is gone. If I turn it off, here it's back. So I did a removal there. Now, why on separate layers? Because if you do with this, let's say I did this left light, but it just didn't work good. Had it all been on one layer, what you could do, you could just make one duplicate layer and work on it exclusively. But had you messed up this light, you would then have to redo the grate, redo the sign, because you can't step back that far in time. Whereas here, if I did happen to do the left light wrong, I would just trash that layer, make another duplicate of this layer, put it on top here, name it, and so forth. I should mention, this layer right here is a duplicate of this one, except with the grate removed. Then I duplicated this one, again, right click on it, duplicate layer, and did that. And so in essence, each of these layers has all of the corrections on it below it. So if I do turn on the visibility all the way up here now, and let's go up and even get to the point of seeing the flag here. Okay, so here's my flag waving. So I put a different flag on there. There's a bird to be removed, and I fixed the tree branch. Okay, if I turn off, I can turn off all of these below here. Nothing changes, because in essence, all of the corrections have been included in this very top layer up here. Okay, because each time what I did is I made a duplicate. So when I removed the sign, I duplicated that layer and then removed the grate. Then I duplicated that layer, removed this, and did this one. duplicate that layer, remove the right light, etc., etc. So in essence, if I go up here and turn off this one, all these visibility is turned off now. Here I'm back to my original. I've got my lights showing, the grate showing, the crack showing, the flag is not correct, tree is brown. Okay, turn it on, everything's gone. But again, it gives you an option to systematically go through and make the correction, make sure each correction is done very correctly, then move on to the next one. Each time you're saving this thing as a savings file, as a PSD file, so you save the layers with it.